This is the Dallas Morning News.
Welcome to the DMN Morning Debrief. Everything you need to know about what's going on across North Texas. I'm Samantha Guzman. Coming up on the debrief, the day's top stories and how one Dallas zoologist deals with the summer heat.
It's inevitable that we're going to be out here in the heat. We have to clean our habitats every day, but I love what I do, so I put up with it.
But first, the weather and today's headlines. This next segment is read by an AI voice.
Monday is expected to continue North Texas's hot, dry streak, with the only reprieve being a slight wind forecast to remain throughout the day. The high temperature is expected to top out at 100 degrees, with the heat index, or feels-like values, as high as 103, according to the National Weather Service's Fort Worth office. This weather report is compiled using information from our news partner, NBC5. Here are the top headlines for August 10th. In business news, the former Electronic Data Systems campus, including the executive building known as the God Pod, was demolished Sunday in Plano. The work clears more of the site where AT&T plans to build $1 billion-plus global headquarters at 5400 Legacy Drive, replacing a campus tied to Ross Perot and Plano's rise as a corporate headquarters hub. Plano approved a $20 million incentive package and a property tax rebate, but AT&T agreed in exchange to spend at least $1.35 billion, build at least 2 million square feet, eventually employ 10,000 full-time workers, and stay there for 25 years. At Cowboys training camp, Dallas continues to eye bigger roster moves before the season, including trades and veteran free agents. Co-owner Stephen Jones said the team has talked with other clubs after Jerry Jones previously said Dallas could use future premium draft picks to improve now. Defense is the area to watch, with edge rushers identified as a possible target. Dallas is also considering an extension for defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, acquired at the trade deadline for 2027 first-round pick, a 2026 second-round pick, and Mazi Smith. Williams' agent, Nicole Lynn, spent much of Saturday's practice talking with the team's salary cap and contracts staff. In Mavericks news, former head coach Don Nelson has died in Frisco at 86, his family confirmed. His family said Nelson moved from Maui to Frisco earlier this year, suffered a stroke about 3 weeks ago, and had recently been in hospice care. Nelson ranked second in NBA coaching wins and second in Mavericks history, with 1,335 career victories and 339 in Dallas. He coached the Mavericks from 1997 to 2005 and helped reshape the franchise with the 1998 draft night acquisitions of future Hall of Famers Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash. Nelson also won 5 NBA titles as a Boston Celtics player, was inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame in 2012, and was named one of the NBA's 15 greatest coaches during the league's 75th anniversary season. And finally, a former Plano mayor is beginning a new chapter far from City Hall. Jack Harvard led Plano from 1982 to 1990 during a major period of growth, and now lives on nearly 1,000 acres in Boss County, with exotic animals, including Bob the giraffe. President Donald Trump quietly pardoned him July 3rd, nearly 3 decades after Harvard went to federal prison in cases involving federal banking laws. The Justice Department did not clarify the scope of the pardon, but Harvard's legal team believes it covers both cases. Harvard maintains he was wrongly convicted. Retired Assistant U.S. Attorney Michael Savage, who helped prosecute the cases, says the jury's verdict and appeals court decisions still stand. The Justice Department says a pardon is presidential forgiveness, not a finding of innocence. The White House cited Harvard's post-conviction record, including raising endangered animals and letting U.S. and NATO troops train on his ranch. Harvard says the pardon lifted a burden from the 1990s, but his family says they had already spent years rebuilding their lives.
Hi, it's Samantha again, and it's time for today's Debrief Extra. While this year hasn't approached historic extremes, it has already delivered more than a dozen days of the triple-digit temperatures known to make August the cruelest stretch of a Dallas summer. Jack Tillis, a senior zoologist at the Dallas Zoo, shares how he copes with the heat during work.
I have worked with our hippos for a little over 6 months now, but I've been at Dallas Zoo for a little over 2 years. It's inevitable that we're going to be out here in the heat. We have to clean our habitats every day, but I love what I do, so I put up with it. And that day a couple weeks ago when the feels like hit 120, I think might have been like the hottest day I have ever experienced in my life. I gotcha. We're also encouraged as much as possible to do projects that involve us being indoors rather than outdoors, because anything that helps us stay out of the heat and in a cooler area is really beneficial for us in the long run. Open. Chin up. Hippos are a lot more tolerant of like the super high temperatures because they always have an option to go into water. Hippos secrete a substance called blood sweat, which is a bit of a misnomer as it's neither blood nor sweat, but it got its name from the reddish color that it has. Acts as a natural moisturizer, and it's also a natural sunscreen and insect repellent. A lot of the times on hot days, they'll all come out onto the beach on the habitat, and they'll all take a nap out there in a big pile. And when they're out in the sun for that kind of prolonged period of time, you'll start seeing them all covered in that blood sweat. It's okay, Gus. Come on, buddy. Good, Gus.
That was senior zoologist at the Dallas Zoo, Jack Tillis. This story was produced by Joe Snell and part of a project where the Dallas Morning News followed more than a dozen people as they navigated a 100-degree day in North Texas. Thanks for listening. Find more reporting and today's stories at dallasnews.com. This digest was partially generated by AI and then reviewed and edited by our newsroom staff. We welcome your thoughts, questions, and feedback at audience@dallasnews.com.